Hi you guys. So our math lesson for Tuesday is working with comparing objects by length. So when we're comparing things, seeing which one is shorter and which one is longer. And we're going to do this with page 231. But I think before we begin, what we really need to do is look at the words to make sure we understand what they mean. So I went ahead and I wrote the word shorter and longer. So if I look at that word, right away I can tell you I see a suffix at the end. And it's not a suffix that we spell with yet in Foundations, but it's a suffix Mrs. Lloyd has told you about. It's suffix ER. Now, ER suffix can mean a couple different things. If I put it at the end of something like the word read, and I say reader, then it would mean a person who reads, right? If I put ER suffix at the end of build, and I say builder, it would be a person who builds, right? But it also has another meaning if you put it at the end of like this adjective, short, okay? If my base word is short, and then I have the suffix ER, I have the word shorter. And at the end of short is meaning it's more short than the other object you're comparing it to. So if I was standing next to Mr. Lloyd, I could tell you that I am shorter than him because I'm comparing my height to his height. Okay, so today when we look at objects, we'll be comparing objects to other objects. If I look at the word longer, I see suffix ER and the base word is long. So that means whatever I'm comparing something to, it's more long than the other object. The ER means more. And I would use these that have suffix ER if I'm only comparing two things. So like I could compare my dry erase marker to this pencil, and if I'm trying to see which one is shorter, I would say, oh, it's this eraser. If I was trying to see which one was longer, I would say, yep, it's this pencil. I'm only comparing two things. And I would only use these words if I'm only comparing two things, like Mr. Lloyd and I, which one is shorter than the other one? Or the pencil and the dry erase marker. I would use these words, shorter and longer. But today on our math paper, we're actually comparing three objects. So when you're comparing something to two or more other things, it could be even if you're comparing something to 10 things, or you're comparing something to 20. Maybe I wanted to see who was the shortest person in our class. If I was comparing all of those kids, I would use a different suffix. So if you look, this word is the word shortest. I can look right here and see that my base word is short, and my suffix is one that we've never even talked about before, est, est. And what that suffix means, what that word part means when we add it to the base word short, is it means it's the most short of everything else you're comparing it to. Just like when I look at the word longest, and I see that it has the same est suffix and the base word is long, it means that whatever objects I'm comparing it to, one compared to all the others, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5, is the most long out of all of those. So that's what those words mean. So we really need to think about that when we're looking at words, and how a lot of times there's word parts added to words that give us a little bit more meaning. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at our page together, page 231, so that we can compare three objects and put them in order. And sometimes we can put them in order starting with the shortest one, going to the longest one. And sometimes we can do the other order, and we can start with the longest one and going to the shortest one. So we have to be really careful that we understand which way we're supposed to put these in order. So let's go ahead and going to tighten this so it doesn't fall down. Okay, so we are looking at page number 231. and 31. I'm trying to decide which way would be easiest for you guys to see. So now I see that I have, let's just call these like, I don't know, you could call them a piece of tape. It's like a rectangle. I guess we'll just call them rectangles because that's really what they are. I have this red rectangle, a green one, and a blue one. I need to read the directions really carefully to know which order I need to put them in. It says write 1, 2, 3 to order from shortest to longest. So because they want me to write 1 starting with the shortest, I need to look at the one that is shorter than all of the others. So shortest, the most short out of all of these. And this is great because they all start at the same point. So I'm just looking at where they end. So this one ends right here. And so that one is actually, that green rectangle is shorter than the red and the blue. So I'm gonna put a 1 right here. The next one I look at is this red one. And if I look here, it doesn't keep going as long as this blue one. This blue one keeps going longer. If I was only comparing the blue to the red rectangle, I would say this red rectangle is shorter than the blue one because it's not as long. And that's what they're wanting me to do, is order from shortest to longest. So the red rectangle is second, but the very longest one will be number 3, and it's this blue one because you can see it kept going past the green one, past the red one, and it has all this extra. It is the longest. So that will be number 3. Now let's look. They want us to compare objects that are pencils. So here if I look, I'm going to call this like just a yellow pencil, a purple pencil, and we'll just call this an orange one because it looks kind of similar. It's like a darker yellow. So again, I want to go from shortest to longest. I can already tell they all line up at the same spot, so I'm looking to see where they end. This one ends here. And if I imagine drawing a line, or you could even draw a line on your paper, you can see that the other pencils go past that line. So this one is shorter than the others. I'm gonna put a number 1 there. And then I go to this one and I draw a line. And look, this pencil goes past that. So this one is the next shortest one. That will be a 2. And then this one is the longest one because it went past all of the other stopping points where the other ones ended. So this will be number 3. Now, if we look on the back, what they want us to do on page 232 is they want us to draw 3 different lines. And then they want us to write 1, 2, 3 to order from the longest line to the shortest line. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use this marker even though I don't usually do that so that it's dark and you guys can see. I'm gonna draw a line. And this is the tricky part. Make sure you start at the same spot when you draw your next line. There we go. You can use markers too if you have one. You could use crayons or just your pencil. So I drew 3 lines. Now they want me to write 1, 2, 3, but now this is really important. Now they want me to start with the longest one, with number 1 being the longest, and end with the shortest one at number 3. So already I can tell you that the end here is the furthest end. Look, this one ends here. If I draw a line, it's shorter. This one ends here. So the longest one is this line that continues going. So I'm gonna go ahead and write a 1 next to my longest line. You'll have to see where your longest line was. Make sure when you draw your lines that they all end at different spots, but start them at the same beginning spot. You could even draw a little line if you want to about where they should start. After that, I can see this is my longest one. The next one ends here, and this one ends even before that. So this is my next longest one here at 2. And then my very shortest one that didn't end as far as either of the others is here at 3. And now I have labeled them and written which one was the longest one, the next longest 2, and the very shortest one 3 on this side. Then they want us to do the same thing on the bottom one. So remember, try to start your lines in the same spot. And I'm just gonna draw my lines. You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna make mine that way. You can use markers, crowns, and then I'm gonna order them from longest to shortest. So right here, can already tell you, it's the longest one. Look, the other ones don't even come close to where it ended. And then the next longest one, this one ends right here, and this one ends right here. So this one goes further than this one when I'm comparing them. So that's number 2. And this is the shortest line of them all, so that's number 3. I actually think the trickiest thing is making sure that you're reading the directions for these kind of things to make sure that you're seeing what they want you to find. Do they want you to start with the shortest one, like on the other page, on the other side, or do they want you to start with the longest one, like we did on this side? So be careful and make sure you're always carefully thinking about what you're doing and reading the directions, especially in math. Remember, Mrs. Lloyd says, the very best people in math will be really careful about their work, and they'll be thoughtful and neat so we don't make any careless mistakes. All right, you guys, have a great day. Bye.